You want me to? Go right ahead. I'll let you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with our meeting this week. For those of you online and in the room, tonight's guest with us is Jess Westbrook. Runs an outfit that we're very supportive of called the Mayfly Project. I won't dive too much about what they do, but it's basically bringing fly fishing to foster children to kind of give them an escape, a safe place, an excitement for the outdoors, a little sense of reality, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll just dive right in. Jess, you can take it away.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Darren. So, like Darren said, I am the founder of the Mayfly Project. Mayfly Project is a 501c3 organization, and we mentor foster kids through fly fishing. So, I'll read our mission statement so I don't get it right like you think I would have it done by heart. But, our mission is basically to support children in foster care through fly fishing and introducing their local water ecosystems to hope that connecting them to a rewarding hobby will provide an opportunity for foster children to have fun, feel supported, and develop a meaningful connection with the outdoors. So, that's kind of, a 30,000-foot overview of the Mayfly Project. So, I'm in Arkansas, so in Benton, Arkansas. Jaren, if you want to go to the next slide, just kind of a little bit about the program and how it started. So, in 2014, my son Case was born, and when Case came, man, I was a new father, and didn't really know what to expect. I jokingly, just the truth, but said that I thought, when we brought home Case, that it was going to be like bringing home a dog, right? Like, and obviously it wasn't like that. I felt so many emotions I'd never felt as a new father. And with those emotions, I don't know if it was like the excess caffeine or no sleep or all of the above, but I started having anxiety attacks. And so, I in the first 6 months of Case's life, I lost 30 pounds. I was missing work, and my bosses were really good about it. They knew what was going on. I was very openly about it. And I lost 30 pounds, and I looked great, right, when I lost those 30 pounds, but it wasn't healthy. And so, when I was going through that stuff, there was a guy who was from Little Rock that was a fishing guide that I looked up to, and I was like, man, why don't you come fishing with me? And I'd fly fished my entire life, grew up fishing in Roaring River, Missouri, so that's where I kind of cut my teeth on fly fishing. And when Chris started taking me out in 2014, I noticed every time I got on the river that, my anxiety disappeared. I wasn't thinking about anything. I wasn't worried about anything. And I realized then, in 2014, there were healing properties that had to do with the Mayfly Project. And so we were with fly fishing. And so we were at church one Sunday morning, and they were talking about, foster kids. And I was like, man, I've been looking for a way to give back to some fly fishing. And I was like, man, looked at my floor. I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to take foster kids. And so when I started taking foster kids in late 2014, early 2015, and then in late 2015 in December, we got our 501c3. We weren't really like an organization. We were just, taking some kids and outfitting them after a couple sessions with them, and didn't really have a program or a plan. And then probably April 2016, I met Caitlin Barnhart from Idaho. So Caitlin has a background in mental health, and I have a business background, so I'm an accountant. And when I met Kate, Kate was kind of a missing piece. My wife's an attorney. I'm an accountant. Kate had the mental health background piece, and so we decided. Kate was like, "Hey, I think just people would really be interested in doing this all over the country." I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think anybody's gonna find that interesting, And sure enough, she was right. So. We started, that first year was just in 2 states, in Arkansas and Idaho, and we toured, probably 20 kids. And then, since then, we've put around 550 kids through our program. In 2021, we'll have 2 projects in 32 states and the United Kingdom. So we're really excited about the United Kingdom. It's been, we didn't know what it would look like to take the Mayfly Project overseas and make it international. So that's been a fun project in 2020, right? Like we stay busy in 2020. And in Missouri, we currently have two projects. So we have a project out of Bennett Springs, and then we have a project out of St. Louis, and we also have one in Fayetteville. So those are probably going to be the projects that are closest to you guys. So I definitely wanted to bring that up. So, Jaron, if you want to go to the next slide. So, my thing. So I touched about this a little bit just in my story. You know, fly fishing does great stuff for the soul, right? Like time in nature is good for your mind, body, soul, and spirit. Like it just is. There's actual scientists. So there's a guy named Dr. Wallace who does a bunch of studies about water and how water has healing properties. So it's actually sometimes to think that in the future that doctors will prescribe like underwater therapy and different things as ways to relieve anxiety and stress. So we believe that fly fishing can do the same thing to us, right? Whether it's listening, it's a proven fact that listening to the sound of running water will, calm anxiety. And I don't know if y'all saw the picture of like Rolling River this past weekend, but I heard a lot of water roaring, So my anxiety was super calm after spending a week up there seeing that flood. So, we do, we feel like the meditative sequences, right? So the, sequences in casting, they actually, it's proven back that those sequences will help with PTSD. So the same stuff that our veterans, right? Like Project Healing Waters and, like our kids suffer from those same, PTSD, RAD, is reactive attachment disorder. Our kids suffer from some of these same things that, our veterans suffer from. And same thing with Casting for Recovery. All great organizations, right, feeling this need for adults who have trauma. And our kids definitely have that trauma. So we're definitely trying to serve those kids. We basically, we're not there to necessarily be their, therapists or anything. We're just there to introduce them to outdoors. So I'll kind of talk a little bit, if we go to the next slide, Jaron, about what the project looks like. So when I say a project, we got these two projects. So a project is basically a series of outings. So we say 5 outings within a 6-month window. So the 6-month window is both a time frame for the kids and for the mentors, right? So we don't want the kids, thinking that we've abandoned them or anything like that. Like, it's like, no. We just, we do these 5 outings and that's what we do and that's it. So there's a hard stop and a hard, starting point for both mentors and for kids. So we basically run our kids through 5 sessions, and in those sessions we teach them everything from casting, conservation, to how to read a fly line box, to characteristics of an angler. So that's important. We actually have a whole section in the curriculum. We have it's like 122-page curriculum, and in that thing we have characteristics of an angler. So we talk about patience, right? So patience is trying to get that brown trout to eat, and you're trying to figure out what fly that fish is going to eat, or where it's feeding in the water column, and you're talking through all these things. And then we talk to these kids about this stuff, and then we can also relate back to their lives. So you remember how that math problem was really tough last week, and it took you forever to figure it out. It's just like that brown trout, So being patient, building grit, being a conservationist, being a good outdoors man or woman. So all of these characteristics, we try to basically teach these kids these things through fly fishing, but hope they apply them to their everyday life. So what a project typically looks like is it's run by a lead mentor. The lead mentor typically does all the organizing with the mentors and the group home. Most days we try to use group homes, but there are times where we will just go through DCFS directly. So in the first, I think in Missouri, I know in Fayetteville we're for sure using a group home. I'll have to check on Missouri to see if there was group homes. So basically, the lead mentor kind of coordinates everything, and the mentor normally the first 4 sessions typically last like 2 to 3 hours. And each
much like those buttons, much like Boy Scouts can earn buttons. We have buttons for casting, for fly tying, picking up trash. So during those outings, those kids can earn those buttons. And those first 4 sessions look different. I'd probably say 2 out of the 4 are on the water, and the other 2 are classroom settings. But every project's different. Again, it just kind of depends on what we're doing. We like to connect our kids to their local ecosystems, right? So if there is a pond that's right down the street from the group home, it's really important that we get those kids plugged into that pond, right? Like we want them to be able to continue to go back to that same place once we're gone. It is fun to get the kids on private water, every now and then, but that's not sustainable, right? Like we want the kids to be able to use what they've learned. And so, on our last outing, our 5th outing, we like to do something special. So typically that looks like, here in Arkansas, we all meet up and go to an overnight trip for dry ride. I know in North Carolina, they do an all-day float. Every project that we like to do something special. Like 5th outing, all the mentors get the kids all the gear they need to fly. So we get them there on fly rod, they're on pack, they're on flies, stats, everything. You name it, our kids get it. So we're really fortunate for all of the sponsors and support that help us be able to do that. So that's typically what the project looks like. I'm going to kind of pause right there just to see if anybody maybe has any questions while we're on the topic. I don't know if I should do that, Jaren, or if I should keep going.
Let's just keep going for now. I don't have any questions online yet, and we'll do a short Q&A with the group here when we get to the end.
Okay. So yeah, if you go to the next slide, Jaren, basically, so let's talk about mentors, right? So mentors are volunteers. You don't have to be a professional fly fishing guide. You don't have to be a therapist. It's none of this, none of these things. Like I kind of tell people, I'm like, we're this is all about fly fishing, but this really has nothing to do with fly fishing, right? Like we're there to have these kids have a good time, to feel safe, and just have fun. So, we provide a one-to-one mentor to kid ratio. So that's super important for us. These kids, excuse me, if they're in group homes, they need that one-on-one time. It's pretty special for them, and it's also just kind of a safe thing too to have. Like I said, we always travel. We do it in group settings. We're not ever alone with the kid. If there is a situation where like a kid needs to go to the restroom or anything like that, we always make sure we travel in group 3. We have tons of policies and procedures to make sure that no one.
I lost you there for a second. I can't tell if you're back yet or not.
Now? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So we just have a bunch of policies and procedures in place to make sure that no one's ever alone. We also have other various jobs besides being a lead mentor. So we have like a conservation mentor, and that person helps us, obviously run all the conservation pieces of our program. So we focus on a few different things. We focus on contamination, which is not spreading aquatic species, so like DDMO and all that good stuff, food washing stations, everything like that. We focus on catch and release, so that's another really important part. We want to make sure that we teach our kids good, fish handling parts. We actually have these cool, like, little plastic fish that look like cartoon trout, so we love to do that with our kids. Some other jobs we have, mentors that teach time flies. We have fundraising mentors who help us fundraise. We kind of jokingly, both Caitlin and I say, we got into this and, had no earthly idea that we were going to fundraise. We don't think that we're the best fundraisers ever. We think that the only way we've been able to do this is the fly fishing community has been amazing at supporting us, So Yeah, so that's a little bit just about mentors. There's a lot more jobs than just, being lead mentor, or we're always looking for volunteers to help us, flies. We actually have a guy out in Montana who's sending like 600 flies to us this week that he's been trying for the last. I don't know how much time he has on his hands because I don't have that much, but he's been tying flies for a couple months, and so he's going to send us like 600 flies. So there's tons of ways to kind of give back. That's not mentoring. So if you want to go to the next page, Karen. So I just realized I did not update this map, so I have an actual map, the cost map that has the new states on it. The cost per kid has not changed. It costs us like $780 to put a kid through our program. So that includes the rod, flies, hit it, meals, waiters, all of that stuff to get in the program, and that includes all of the stuff that they get on the end of the program, which is obviously their own gear. In that 780, a portion of it goes back to cover, overhead like insurance, and I think it's about $175 that goes back to cover, just national fees, which is insurance, salary, background checks, just stuff like that. So we are, that's just kind of a 30,000 foot overview of the Mayfly Project, and like I said, I know we have some close to you guys. I know since this is MAKO, we have some Oklahoma people here. We do have a project that is getting started in Tulsa, by a gentleman named Alton Carter, which is amazing. So we don't have anything in Kansas yet. But we would definitely love to get there. So that's kind of all that I have, Jaron. I'd love to answer questions or answer any more specific questions if you guys have them.
I have a question. How do you go about the selection process of kids? Obviously, there's several thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of kids in the foster care system. How do they get selected or show interest or become a part of what the program is?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So in the United States, there are about 415,000 foster kids at any given time. In Arkansas, there are 5,000, roughly at any given time. I don't know Missouri. I meant to look that up before we got on this call, but I didn't. Believe it or not, the hardest thing we have is to find kids. Like, we have way more mentors than we have kids. So it's actually, it's not really, like, we're actually just scrambling trying to find kids most of the time. Like, that's our difficult thing. Kids move in and out of the system. They get reunited with their parents, or, they're transferred to another group home. So oddly enough, we struggle to find kids most of the time. I say struggle, like, when we go into new states, it can be a struggle. Once we're established, like, it's the caseworkers and group home, like, they see how much the kids love it and how beneficial it is. So it's actually pretty easy once we establish. Running, most of the time finding kids can be hard. When it comes down to selecting kids, like, so let's just say here in Arkansas, we have a group home that has like 24 kids. We can realistically, only, service 15 to 18 of those kids. So, a lot of times what we'll do is, we may have like a barbecue and tie some flies, and the group will just kind of ask the kids, hey, who's interested in this? More times than not, most of them will say that they are. But let me, like, we do have third-person kids. We'll actually ask the kids to be like, hey, would you like to try this? And so, like I said, most of the time they do. But most of the time, like, finding kids can be a challenge, but it's, like I said, once you get established, it's pretty easy.
Okay, anybody else have a question? They're all staring at me with blank looks. I think we're good, buddy. Thank you very much for coming on tonight and doing that for us. I know we had a couple audio issues, but I think everybody got the message. We will leave this video up as well, so you'll have full access to PowerPoints if anybody wants to go back and find any information or how to help out or donate or do any of those kind of things. So,
when's the next project coming up?
when is your next project coming up?
When's the next project coming up?
Yep.
As far as
So-
I say,
So every can you repeat that for me, Sharon?
Yeah. Greg just wanted to know when the next project around this area would be coming up, such as Bennett or Arkansas or something like that.
So every project kind of kicks off differently. In Arkansas, we're kicking off in June. I'm not sure. I know Bennett Springs is kicking off really soon because we've already sent them their gear. As far as the actual date, I don't know, but I could definitely get back with you guys. If you were interested in the specific dates and stuff, kicking off. So kind of the way. I probably should have mentioned this. The way that if you guys decide you did want to join, and become a mentor, we have an online application that you can fill out. And so there'll be some references and stuff like that, and we'll have to do some background checks. But we run everybody through those extensive background checks and just to make sure that everything's cool. And then, like I said, we can get you guys plugged in. But I can definitely get you guys a specific date if you're interested.
I think I answered the question.
He says that answered the question. Perfect.
Okay.
All right, buddy. We're good if you are. Thanks again for joining us tonight. We
Okay,
really
I'm
appreciate
good.
it. We'll
Like I said, you guys let me know.
see what we can do to help you out in the future.
Appreciate your help. Appreciate you doing that for us tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Okay, y'all have a good night.
You too, buddy.
All right, bye.